This show is sponsored by We Are Change Fresno.
We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air, whatever the cost may be. We shall never surrender.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
We are dangerous to the status quo in this country.
Join We Are Change Fresno.
And now here is your host, Sam Shaney and Stuart Webb.
Hello, friends. Welcome to We Are Change Fresno on 1680 AM. Week 8. I am Stuart Webb, your host, with my co-host, Sam Cheney. Lots going on, and we're going to cover some news, some current events. There's many geopolitical issues that are surrounding the globe lately. We have Ukraine, we have the Israel-Palestine conflict, we have the border situation just south of us. So there's a lot to cover, and that's just internationally. So, Sam, what do we have on the agenda today?
Let's cover California corruption first, Stuart. I want to get into what's going to happen down in Los Angeles. There's an article out of Infowars.com called Hotel California. It reads like LA officials to send homeless to internment camps will be implanted with RFID chips. And it goes on to say, an anonymous source claiming to work inside of the Los Angeles Department of Health Services recently dropped a bombshell that could set a dangerous new precedent in how the government deals with those they find to be a burden or threat to a stable society.
It's getting there, guys. It's getting close to absolute chaos because right now we're sacrificing our morals for the sake of cleaning up the streets while the controlled collapse is happening. So we're going to say it's okay for homeless people to just be swept away and put in camps as long as, we're more comfortable living in our city. It says, officials say that we'll approach them and ask if they need help. And from there, obviously, I mean, if you walk up to a homeless person and they are homeless, they're going to gladly accept help. So they're preying on these people, putting them in camps, and then they'll be processed, says official. So let me tell you what processing means. That means you're going to be processed, and then you're going to be eliminated. Okay, just like in the movie Equilibrium, when you are not a thought criminal, but if you are a criminal that feels, because in the movie that they make people take pills so they don't feel anything.
Oh man.
No, it's terrible. Awesome movie. But then if you stop taking your pills that the beloved government gives you, you are then sent away for processing. So that word processing, you need to understand that means elimination. And so it's
like process of elimination.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're actually starting this in Skid Row, the area of LA.
Oh boy.
That is not good, and that's going to spread. And see, they go to the worst parts and say, "Well, we're cleaning up the streets." Well, I mean, as things get worse, everywhere's going to be terrible.
Bad, yeah, exactly.
So that means that when you go from middle income to lower income to below the poverty level to homeless, everyone's going to be.
Big brother decides.
Everyone's going to be sent for processing.
Yep.
In most cases, the decision is already made for them unless they become combative or belligerent, in which case we send them in for a 72-hour psych evaluation and then transfer them while under sedation or heavy medication to the facility, a supervisor for the Health and Human Services Department in LA said. Stuart, this ties into Nazi Germany. We've seen this before.
FEMA camps.
History is repeating.
Mm-hmm.
In Germany, they came for the communists, and I did not speak up because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics. I did not speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up for me. And that's from a pastor, poet, Martin Nomelier from 1945 Germany. And that's exactly what's happening here. We saw, I reported a few weeks back, the CHP is using homeless people for their crazy drug screening programs. And now in LA, they're just going to round them up and take them to the camp and heavily sedate them.
Just a cover up, that's all.
Whether these people are homeless or not, doesn't matter. We need to stand up and say, no, this is wrong.
Exactly, because look, it's so dehumanizing, and not only that, it's starting to really resonate with me now that they're actually just, we're gonna now start rounding up homeless people. We're gonna start forcibly medicating them. We're gonna basically just do what we want with them because they're not human anymore. And I think it resonates because I can see into the future a little bit and see how much of a responsibility the people that are still good people in this world, we have a responsibility to make sure that we care about everyone, okay? Even the homeless, the weakest of us, if we don't want it to happen to us as well. So just like Sam said, that little parable right there, yes, when there's no one left to speak out for you, then you're going to be sent to these camps as well. You're going to be processed and eliminated. So it concerns me, and we need to speak out against it. And we need to start calling for these government officials to resign and say, you know, you can't just dehumanize people like that and treat them like they're an experiment. I mean, we're going to see how it is. We're going to see what it's like and what the effects of giving certain homeless people drugs, and we're going to do experiments on them. I mean, that is Nazi Germany. And I know we bring that up all the time, especially when we talk about things like gun control. I mean, because history repeats itself, okay? And so as we continue to see all these things happening, people got to start believing that there's evil in this world. Evil didn't just die after Hitler died and was out of power, okay? Things aren't all fine and dandy. So we need to start recognizing that history repeats itself, and we have a responsibility to speak out and take action.
It wasn't even that long ago when they had concentration camps
in Germany.
Less
than a century.
The German people are well aware of their history, and that's why they're backing away from all U.S. technology. We're going to get into that in the economy part of the show. But moving on here, Stuart, we need to stand up for the homeless people, the weakest in our society, or you never know when you'll be rounded up to a camp and there'll be no one left to speak out for you. Moving on here to the Pelosi needs to resign and be removed. She is out there this week in the press saying that Hamas is a humanitarian organization, and no matter what side you stand on, they're obviously not humanitarian. And so just the absurdity of her comments in public keep coming out and just embarrassing the heck out of California. And me as a Californian, I don't want to even call her my representative. I want to call her an insane person because that's what she is.
Yeah, I mean, she says things like, she compares the whole border collapse and all these children that aren't even really children. I mean, a lot of them are over 18 and gang members, saying that, this is just like a situation with baby Jesus, that, he was a refugee and we need to treat all these gang members that are coming across the border like, refugees from violence. And it's come out that they're not even leaving from violence. It's just the welfare states of other countries. It's just, it sucks to live there. And then they're just pouring into our country thinking that it's going to be all fine and dandy when we're creating the same state of affairs and the same environment as all these other countries that they're leaving. As I've said before, we're just leaving one tyranny to go to the next. So Pelosi, her statements, she needs, you know what? I would like to call her a blithering idiot, but she obviously, she's been in power for so many years. She's obviously has some sort of intelligence, because she's able to stay in power while saying things that don't make sense, that are absolutely absurd and ridiculous, but yet she still represents part of California and is a huge influencer in Washington. So, but she does need to resign. She's insane, but also, she's still in power. So, maybe she's a I don't know. You compare her to a serial killer, but but politically, because she has power. Even though she's insane, but she still has power. It's crazy.
She's a tyrant, totalitarian. It's obvious. And we're here at Ground Zero in California for the Fabian socialist utopia that they're building around us, a warfare state that is slowly collapsing but picking up steam. And part of the reason is the education system. The public schooling here in California is corrupt beyond imagination. An article out of the LA Times says that Inland Empire School District superintendent made almost $500,000 a year, $500,000 for a school superintendent. That is absurd for a state worker. And then you go on and read more of this article, and it says 31 custodians in California made over $100,000 last year for a custodian. Excuse me. I mean, I want a custodian to be able to make a good living, but $100,000. And then you read more into the article. These people have sold us out, folks. 34,750 teachers in this state are making over $100,000 a year. I'm sorry, folks, but they're getting paid good to sell us out. They should be protesting against Common Core, against all the garbage. Our test scores are in the basement. If you go around in public, people are ignorant. I mean, we are going downhill fast. They're paying off the teachers to keep their mouths shut and continue to not educate our children. It is a shame what they're doing to the state.
Think about it this way. If, the test scores of all the children in America continue to go down, but we continue to pay the teachers, the superintendents, the administrators, everyone who works for the state or the Board of Education, everyone in the education field that works. That's
$500,000 a year, Stuart, for a superintendent. That is ridiculous.
That's a public sector worker.
A state worker, yeah.
We're paying them these amounts, but yet they're not producing. They don't produce any results. Okay, so in the private sector, they would be fired, but yet we can't really fire all these people. But we got janitors making $100,000. What janitor or cleaning person or
custodian?
Custodian. the PC correct terminology. What custodian?
In what world?
In the private sector, what kind of custodian makes $100,000 a year? Okay, and so but the main issue is that they're not producing. I think they're actually worsening the situation for children. Okay,
they're pushing Common Core.
Yes, and in my opinion, I would rather save that money and go to some sort of voucher system, which people say, well, that's absurd. The problem is we've actually made the public sector a welfare state for public sector workers, basically, where they can't really get fired even if they do a bad job. And so we're supporting them with our tax dollars, shrinking the actual private sector, which actually produces based on results. They either fail or they succeed based on the results, which is not what government does or public sector workers. So we need to stop this situation. I don't know what needs to happen. More counties need to go to a voucher system and start opening up. We don't have a choice. These schools that we send our children to, we're paying through taxes for these schools to operate, but we don't have an option if it sucks, okay? If the school sucks, if the teachers suck. So we need to open up some options, okay, in this supposedly free market, the American dream the American ideal and dream that we all seem to believe that we have. Well, we are not even a free marketplace, and we're supposed to be based on free market capitalism. So we need more options, and $500,000 to a superintendent. I don't even know what a superintendent does.
$500,000.
$500,000, and
just $500,000.
It's seriously can I'm sure I could run a school system better with that kind of money. I'm almost positive. I know what I would give the students. I would give them Henry Hazlitt, economics in one lesson.
Stuart, it's obvious they're paying these people off to deliberately dumb us down, and these are traitors that are selling out America. Moving on here to more absurdity from California corruption. LA City Councilman Richard Alarcon was convicted this week of 4 felonies, but he's still going to receive $116,000 in his annual pension.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
it
God.
is absurd.
That's not cool, man. That ain't cool at all, man.
Yep. And the next one, you remember Leland Yee, the international arms trafficker? Well, he just got charged this week with a new count of racketeering.
Oh!
Yep. And so it just keeps adding up. I'm sure if you looked at Pelosi, we could add up a big old federal indictment against all her crimes.
Yeah, insider trading.
Like we covered last week, her son is insider in these energy scams, and it just goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, guys, Leland Yee is still receiving our money after being indicted for all these crimes. I mean, he's facing up to like 70 years
Federal
in prison.
racketeering.
Yeah, federal racketeering. Wow. Remember how ignorant the public is, though. 380,000 votes, okay, that he got for Secretary of State. That is unbelievable, okay?
Because the school system.
Imagine if they don't. That's the problem with public education right there, is that they're voting for an indicted criminal for Secretary of State of the state that they live in, okay? That's how, and those are people that can vote, that are 18. So it just shows how the public education system has failed. And, I mean, I honestly, Leland I guess he's just preying on the ignorance of the public. Why not? All these statements that are coming out from FBI agents, he's just basically, just bragging about how he's committing crimes while,
he's gangster.
Yeah, he's just so cool. Oh, I'm making it look like I'm for gun control because I'm serving the public, but then I'm running drugs on the side and running guns for Islamic terrorist groups. But anyway, folks, we got to take a quick break. Here's a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
Listen up, Fresno. Are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Folks, we're back. I am your host, Stuart Webb, along with my co-host Sam Cheney. Sam, what do we have in our second segment?
Second segment, we're going to talk about the Bilderberg Group, and we're going to talk about World War III. Stuart, I guess the Business Insider is now a conspiracy theorist website because they say that they have a chart on their website where they link the Bilderberg Group, which has 120 to 140 of the most powerful people in the world, linked to every major organization in the world. They can't find a direct link, but I will put the link, and I suggest people go look at this. Any major corporation, Fortune 500, is linked to the Bilderberg Group, and anything you buy at this point has been marketed and sold to you through the Bilderberg Group at this point. They do not do any business in this country that doesn't touch them. And the major people they talk about in this article are Eric Schmidt from Google and George Soros, the famous Nazi collaborator. And so
funding the Ukraine situation as well, right?
Yeah, but this chart's just unbelievable. If you look at it, it connects to just about everything in your life. The Bilderberg Group, that secretive, shadowy group that didn't exist until Jim Tucker and Alex Jones and others
Daniel
and Daniel Estulin pushed forward through the mainstream Berlin Wall of blockade media silence against it. And now it's broken on Business Insider, and they have a great chart. So I suggest everybody go check that out, and you can see how we are being controlled by these puppet masters.
Well, with great investigative journalism and great alternative media, the Bilderberg is not a secret anymore. They've even issued press releases. As last year, they issued a press release, basically admitting, hey, yeah, we are having a meeting. So, and InfoWars actually talked to one of the attendees and got an interview from them. So it's the externalization of the hierarchy, as they put it in their books. These people are. They are collaborating, and they're trying to run the world. That's just a fact. They talk about it, okay? Here's just one of the attendees that came to mind, after, I'm still reading Daniel Estulin's book, but the amount of important people that go to these meetings that you'll never hear about it, but if you just do a little research. Kathleen Sebelius, remember the governor of Kansas, the one that was in charge of Obamacare.gov and
traitor should be in prison, violation of Logan Act.
She spent $1 billion of our taxpayer dollars on the website that doesn't work and that steals your information and sells it off to people and is easily hacked. And and doesn't even give you the care that you need. So those are the type of people. We need to understand that these people are not incompetent, okay? Kathleen Sebelius is not incompetent. She's a Bilderberg attendee.
They're globalists.
She's an insider. They're globalists.
globalists.
So stop thinking that it's conspiracy. It's not the Bilderberg group, like Glenn Beck
Build-A-Bear.
said. Yeah, Glenn Beck said, oh, well, it's about the Bilderberg groups. I think as important as the Build-A-Bear group. Okay, well, that's, come on,
don't know
Glenn.
about all that now.
But you need to start researching these groups because they have huge influence. They have the most influence on your daily activities.
Stuart,
It's a fact.
Stuart, they tie to 10 corporations, and you look at all the links on the chart, and it makes you want to not buy anything from these people. It makes me not want to buy anything from these people, to at least economically boycott them, because I don't support globalization. I'm sorry, I support the United States sovereignty. Wow. Moving on here, Stuart, to the 25 events, and there's more, but this is a summary leading up to World War III. I mean, the mainstream media wants us to go ahead and get in thermonuclear war with Russia. They call it a limited war, and they all have bunkers that they can go hide in during the nuclear winter for 25 years. The rest of us suckers are going to either die from radiation poisoning, or if you're lucky, you will just get incinerated by the blast. But man, folks, Russia's no joke. They have thermonuclear weapons. We do not want to start a hot war with Russia. We're already in a proxy war with them in Ukraine. These are the events leading up to that. U.S. spent $5 billion to destabilize Ukraine, not to mention the millions spent on NGOs, opposition groups. The State Department was even caught playing Kingmaker in Ukraine in secret recordings during the takeover. November 21st, 2013, Ukrainian president abandons agreement on closer trade ties with EU, instead seeking closer cooperation with Russia. Violent pro-EU protesters begin to organize. In the interest of time, I'm going to move on here. It's a great post on Activist Post.
It lays it all down, and it goes over the actual events that, and they're linking to news articles of the exact events that happened over this last year. And if you would just pay attention, you would see all of the propaganda from our own media and our president acting unilaterally, saying, oh, Russia, I'm going to put sanctions on Russia, and we need to basically put in a new government, and then admitting that basically, we've basically orchestrated this new government, and then saying it was duly elected. Okay. So, look, we don't need to be in Ukraine at all. As me and Sam have talked about for basically the last year, we don't need to be there, okay? War is a racket. It's not benefiting any of the general public on either of the sides. And then these politicians sit up there and act like, they act like it's just some strategic game to mess with people's lives and to put other people's lives on the line in their interest.
That's how Zbigniew Brzezinski would see it, a global technocrat. Stuart, people need to search this article, read it for yourself. 25 recent events causing World War III they want you to forget, and that's a great article on Activist Post. The last two events I'll read to you that happened this month, July 2014. Joe Biden, our vice president, his son's company is preparing to drill shale gas in eastern Ukraine. And another thing that happened this month is the Pentagon created a military plan to clear the path for gas drilling in the rebel-held areas of Ukraine. And so they say, well, there's U.S. interest there. We need to... No, there's not U.S. interest, not mine or Stuart's.
Do you own a stock in one of those gas companies?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, Stuart.
Nobody's has interest there besides the globalists, period.
It's right there. All you got to do is look and see that this is another New World Order globalist fraud trying to start World War III, which they would really like, because they're collapsing the economy, and that's what they do to cover up the financial crimes they've committed, is start another war and then blame it on that. We're not going to let them get away with it, folks.
No,
Open your eyes.
We're going to keep harping on it because war's a racket, as we've said, okay? They're not putting their lives on the line. Brzezinski gets up there and people, it's Zbigniew Brzezinski. He was the national security advisor for President Carter. He's a globalist, elitist scum. He's written books about how we are basically scum, and he wants to get rid of us and rule the world. I mean, yeah, he can sit up there and say words that you don't even really understand. I mean, he can say a paragraph that the general public wouldn't even understand what he's saying. I mean, he's very smart. Okay, co-founder of the Trilateral Commission with David Rockefeller. This guy is involved in some criminal operations, and guess who's paying for it? We're paying for it.
Wow, Stuart. This just came out today in an article from cnsnews.com. They come out with a lot of good economic articles. A Boston University economics professor, Lawrence Kotlikoff, says that, guess what? Social Security is insolvent. Not 20 years from now, not 10 years from now. It's bankrupt right now, today. He says that he has a table in a report that he came up with saying that Social Security has a fiscal gap of $23 trillion. So think about that next time you look at your paycheck and the Social Security that they pull out of it to pay into this Ponzi scheme. If you're mine or Stuart's age, probably anybody that's not on Social Security right now, you're never going to see that money, folks. I'm sorry to say, and that is coming out from mainstream economists from Boston University.
I mean, people, is that even really debatable anymore? Look, Social Security, look at your check next time you get your check, and look at all the taxes taken out, and for Medicare, Medicaid, all the unemployment, Social Security,
FICA.
Yeah, everything. I mean,
what is FICA? I never heard of that. Huh?
Federal unemployment insurance.
There we go.
Thank you.
So when you get that check, look at Social Security. And you just need to understand that none of that money is going. I mean, people probably don't even. It's
insolvent today.
It will. You'll never get it. So you're literally paying for interest on debt. That's what you're paying for.
You're paying for the people that are collecting it now.
Yeah. Yes. That's the whole Ponzi scheme. I mean, it's not going into a bank account for you with your name on it. Okay. So once you start to realize it, well, that'd be nice if I had that extra money. Well, you can't because they've already sold. They basically sold out your future to the people, and the people that are receiving it now. I mean, yeah, the people before them did the same thing. So obviously they're going to try to reap some sort of benefit because they paid into it. But that's the same thing that's going to happen with all these pensions, these public sector workers' pensions. They're never going to get it. I mean, if you're 35 right now, you think they have trillions of unfunded liabilities. Okay,
23 trillion.
We're not going to
Social Security alone.
It's Social Security alone. So. We're not going to pay back. Look, when the government says, give us money and we'll save it for you, just know that that's a lie, okay? They are just flat out lying to you. How about you just take some responsibility and just save it yourself, okay?
Stuart, banks are accused of rigging the silver price. Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and Bank of Nova Scotia have been accused of attempting to rig the price of silver in a lawsuit filed in the U.S. this week. The plaintiff alleges the banks, which set the price of silver each day, abused their position in the market. And so we see this continuing from a lawsuit filed earlier this year saying that Barclays Bank, which they were actually fined for rigging the gold market, they paid a fine of $44 million to UK regulators. And we know that the LIBOR scandal came out where they rigged the interest rates. Folks, all these markets are rigged by the big banks. And it's financial crime against you, your family, and your future. And we need to stop doing business with these criminals.
Yeah, they have to hold down the price of these precious metals and a lot of other things, interest rates included, because they don't want the real worth to be seen, because then people will know how big of a sham the dollar has become and what kind of trouble we're in. So it's these banks. I mean, they said that 5 banks decide what silver's worth over a conference call every day,
and gold too.
Wow, that's a centralization of power right there. I don't see how that. I just don't see how that's a free marketplace, and how I mean you're leaving it up to a couple people with their interest is to keep it low. Okay, so we can't trust these people anyway.
They don't want you to have real wealth. They want you caught in their fiat debt-based monetary system.
Exactly, and that's why we continue to tell you that invest in intrinsic things with intrinsic value, silver, gold, bullets, food storage. Knowledge is one of the most important. Every chance I get, I buy a new book on whether it be history, economics, or current affairs, or hey, even something maybe if you want to learn how to learn a new skill. Okay, watch some tutorials online or read some books. Just stop watching the daytime television, being caught up in whether Beyonce and Jay-Z are going to get a divorce or whatever.
Who cares about them, man?
I mean, really, and Jay-Z's ugly anyway, right? I mean, maybe if he was better looking. I mean, we know Beyonce's good looking, but seriously, no, I'm serious. People, I mean, we need to stop caring about celebrities. They are put there for us to be distracted from real issues. I'm not saying you can't have a good time and go enjoy a concert here and there or listen to some music, of course, but you need to care about things that actually are going to affect you and future generations, the things that are really important. Plus, it's more interesting to learn about the Bilderberg Group, in my opinion, because that's what we are living in a movie right now. I mean, we know we are. I mean, reality is stranger than fiction, okay? As it's been said.
Learn about how money works.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a quick break after a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
Listen up, Fresno. Are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Folks, we're back going into our third segment. This is We Are Change Fresno on 1680 AM. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Stuart Webb, with my co-host, Sam Chaney, and our producer, Woody.
Hey, finally I get some props around here.
There you go. I'm sorry we haven't been giving him his props the last 7 weeks.
Hey, Sam, you want to turn down that phone, man? Come on, man. We're not supposed to be having the phones on when we're doing a radio show. What's wrong with you, man?
We discussed this. Turn off the
I know,
volume.
turn off the phone. I'm just kidding, man. It's part of the act. It's part of the act. We just had to put a little humor in it.
Yeah, this is probably the most humorous we've been in,
right.
in
we
our
get too
full 8
serious,
weeks.
man.
We do. We talk about serious issues. Sometimes we get a little too serious. We got to have some fun.
Well, let's get to some more serious issues.
Some more
here.
serious.
Yeah.
Sam, what do we got on our third segment coming up?
Some more on the economy. Like we reported and been saying, now it's in Bloomberg. Tech companies real as NSA spying tarnishes reputation. U.S. technological companies are in danger of losing more business to foreign competitors if the National Security Agency's power to spy on consumers isn't curbed. Okay? Like we said before, they are undermining the confidence of consumers all around the world. The rest of the world figured it out. Germany went back to typewriters. Nobody else is playing this game, America. Wake up.
Economic sabotage, economic espionage. This is what the NSA is going to be doing to everyone, and they have done it, okay? They have the ability to spy on everyone, so of course they're going to be able to they're going to be able to actually control the outcome of the future. I mean, how people act, what businesses are going to be able to thrive, what businesses are not going to be able to, and they can also steal everyone's ideas. I mean, they're playing God, and people, just like Germany, they're not putting up with it. Typewriters, are you kidding me? I mean, this is how ridiculous we're looking to everyone, because no one seems to really give a rat's ass about civil liberties anymore, okay? We need to stand up, defund the NSA, okay? We need to get back our civil liberties, and that if that means starting to decriminalize drugs, let's legalize things that should have never been illegal in the first place, okay? Look at Leland Yee. I mean, he's gun trafficking and basically acting like a criminal because there's money in it, okay? There's money in all these actions that he's taking. So that's how criminals work. I mean, if there's no money in all these things that are illegal, then we would have less crime. I mean, that is just the fact. There would be no money in it, okay? You would just have a bunch of people that I guess would be, selling pot and not making a lot of money, not living the lifestyle that they would, that the mainstream media tells you that's cool, and the rap and all the pop culture tells you that's cool, because it wouldn't be what's the word? I mean, it wouldn't be glamorous, okay? You wouldn't be
wouldn't be
driving.
taboo.
It would exactly. So we need to just get back to the Constitution. Civil liberties need to be restored. I mean, come on, people. The NSA can spy on you in your house. We have cell phones. I mean, they could just tap your phone whenever they want. They've done it. Trillions of felonies.
Yeah,
Are we going to put up with it?
If you don't care, you will care.
Yep.
They will care when they drop the hammer of tyranny on you, like they continue to do slowly, and they're ratcheting it up faster and faster. They're rounding up homeless people.
That's scary.
Who's going to be next? We've seen this movie before.
Yep.
And so what does it take? People, please wake up and speak out and take action against this. Moving on here, Stuart, to the loving covered California. They want everyone to have their loving health insurance. But it's Affordable Care Act. I thought that it would be affordable. Well, no, it's not. It's selling out of our youth. Like, same thing with Social Security. The health commissioner here in California says that costs are up 88% this year. He says that the hardest hit are going to be people under 25 years old who are paying 52% more than they did previously, and those are people who are healthy, and so they're not even using their health insurance. And that's an article out of the LA Times. So this is mainstream, in your face corruption beyond imagination. He goes on to say, we're going to continue to see rates go up simply because no one has the ability to stop excessive rates. Well, no, not when there's a tyrannical government with a gun to your head saying, buy this health insurance or you will be fined, punished, and imprisoned. It's a crime against the youth of America.
The loving Obamacare, it's for your own good. Okay? Look, people, we're not in a utopian society when we give the government complete control of our lives, okay? A utopian society would be the free market. Living in a, society where we care about the Bill of Rights and Constitution and people can act freely and do things they want to do without a gun to their head saying, you better do this for your own good. Okay, you need to read the book Free to Choose by Milton Friedman. In the 70s, he was talking about all these issues about how he talked about public education as a start. We have the public education system is a monopoly, so we can't go anywhere else. So of course it's going to become a massive bureaucracy that is bloated, and it's going to be the control will be so centralized. What do you think is going to happen? A tyrannical government is going to basically control the outcomes of the education of young children. Okay, so it's the same thing with healthcare. Okay, and every industry. If my company, think about it this way: if my company owned all the health, if you had to buy insurance from my company, because let's just say my company was Obamacare, then you would have no other option. And of course, I'm going to charge whatever I want because you have no other option. You can't. Okay, but remember, it's for your own good. Okay. So we need.
I like how you throw that in there.
It's loving.
It's loving.
Yes.
We need to understand the government does not love you. They want
I'm from your
control
government,
of you.
and I'm here to help you.
There you go. It's the most dangerous thing you could ever hear. So government will continue if you allow people to control your lives. And social safety nets, I don't buy that. You are your own social safety net, okay? Social Security, remember it was supposed to be a social safety net. Well, guess what? Now it's bankrupt. Ponzi scheme. We'll never get the money. But we paid into it. And so, look, if you ask the government to take care of you, they are going to put preemptive controls on everything you do, okay? Because they now control you, okay? So, of course, they're going to put preemptive controls. It's like if someone's overweight, but they say, well, I need free health care. Well, the government's going to say, well, you can't eat that Hostess cupcake anymore. I'm sorry. So they have to put preemptive controls to keep the cost of care down. So just if you want that kind of society, then I guess pay into the Obamacare that's not even affordable. And remember, that's mainstream news. That now they're just flat out telling people now because they can't hide it.
That's LA Times in your face.
And really, what are we going to do about it, right? Me and Sam can't even hardly get 20 people out to protest anything. So just keep watching your mainstream media. Judge Judy's very funny.
They're selling out the youth of America, Stuart. And
Absolutely.
like we continue to say, the mainstream media says, oh, the economy's recovering, we're doing great. Well, here's another mainstream story out of the New York Times. They say that the inflation-adjusted net worth for the typical household was $87,000. $992 in 2003. 10 years later, it was only $56,335. That's a 36% decline. And that's a study out of Russell Sage Foundation. And so right there, it shows that, yes, our economy is collapsing. Household income is declining drastically. There is no recovery. We are in a depression. And they continue to sell out the youth and dumb us down. I'm at a loss for words, Stuart. The mainstream media is lying to us about everything. 6 corporations control 90% of it. That's why we need you to support alternative media, this show, and all other alternative media at FresnoForward.com.
Yeah. I mean, even in 2001, we were headed towards a depression. Apparently, I mean, Ron Paul stated that in his book. I mean, many economists have discussed, hey, we were heading into a depression back then, but guess what? Remember? Oh, 9/11 happened. Okay, and then the Fed continued lowering the interest rates, pumped up the dollar. Prices of houses, the value of houses continued to go up. But the thing is, there wasn't real wealth there. There wasn't new production. Okay, and so it was an illusion, and that's why in 2008 it collapsed. Okay, so what they need us to be distracted. They need to just completely, because look, 9/11 was one of the biggest distractions of our time, and not only that, it was one of the biggest tragedies, but also it unified our country into just rallying behind the flag, forgetting about, I don't know, that thing called the Constitution. Just completely just throw it out the window for our safety, and then in return we get no safety. But so they're manipulating the dollar. Like Sam said, the average income has gone down significantly. So exactly. So the wealth and poverty line is expanding. It's getting even further away from each other. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But the rich, when we talk about the rich, that's the 0.001 are getting richer and richer and richer, and then the middle class is being destroyed. Your dad's corporation, he's not an insider, okay? He's going to continue to get taxed. He's not going to be allowed to produce without massive regulations and government controls. So it's going to continue to divide the classes into basically you're either an insider or you're the enemy of the insiders.
Stuart, they want a civil war in this country, a hot civil war, to have the excuse to bring in martial law, put us in the camps with the homeless people. And but we're going to get onto the borders now and the border crisis, the illegal invasion of this country. And Geraldo Rivera's out there in the news saying that Drudge Report's bad because he's actually reporting on what's happening. And so he's saying that Drudge Report wants a civil war. Well, I'm sorry, Geraldo Rivera. Drudge Report is just trying to report on what's actually happening instead of putting the spin on it that the government's going to save us, which we know will not happen. Wow, in this down economy, maybe we want to go ahead and collect $7,000 a month for fostering illegal alien adults. There's a program going on in Texas where Catholic Charities will pay up to $7,000 to house illegal aliens up to the age of 23 years old.
That's unbelievable, but believable at the same time, because you know what? People are desperate for cash, and the people that are ignorant are just going to say, well, yeah, I might as well house them. I mean, it's $7,000. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would say, yeah, bring them on. Bring them all in. I'll take them all. I need some money.
It's payoffs for Democratic operatives.
Exactly. And that is that they're going to, I mean, that the money's hardly going to be worth anything in a couple years. So, I mean, or less than that. I mean, I
thought it was for the children. They said up to 23 years old.
Yeah.
They're
saying housing adults now. Okay. For $7,000 a month. Look, people are going to take the easy way out, and they're going to say, yeah, I'll take them, but not realizing what they're doing. They're actually helping the demise of this country, and then you're going to have nothing. When the dollar's worth absolutely nothing, you're going to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have just helped collapse the country by taking in the adults from south of the border, not the children, but the adults. So they're admitting that they're just letting adults in here. And as I've said before, they're not checking IDs at the border, people. Okay, they're going to continue to say this in the mainstream media. The children, unaccompanied children, children. It's all for the children. Okay, And me and Sam just made a video about gun control. They said it was for the children, okay? But then everyone ended up dead because you just were so ignorant and then you accepted the lie that it was for the children, even though bringing down this country is not going to help the children.
They're selling out the youth like we just went over.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no Social Security. Your health care skyrocketing. They don't care about the children one bit. They are child trafficking. The federal government is guilty of child trafficking.
Yeah, exactly. It's criminal operations are going on right now, and it's wide open. It's out in the open, okay? And you know what? That's why they're attacking Drudge, because they can't hide it. It's on every news station. Everyone knows what's going on at the border. It's whether you're going to care about it or just continue to be ignorant and say, well, maybe we should take in these children. I mean, look, read a book, turn off the Judge Judy, okay, and start understanding how these people operate. And they're trying to get rid of the Bill of Rights, the right to bear arms. They're claiming people that that just believe in the Second Amendment and dislike the government are now terrorists, okay, and also racist. So anyway, folks, we have to take a quick commercial break. Here's a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
No, are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Folks, we're back. Welcome to We Are Change Fresno. If you're just joining us for our last segment, I am your host, Stuart Webb, with my co-host, Sam Chaney. We are on 1680 AM, Fresno, California, and we'd like to thank our producer, Woody, for helping us out with the show, and Paul as well, Paul Deffenbach. Sam, what do we have on the last segment of our show today?
More on immigration and the disgusting state of America. Stuart, if you are a veteran and you go protest in front of the White House about the VA scandal or about wars or whatever, they're going to arrest you. If you go and protest about 9/11, you want a new investigation, they're going to arrest you, okay? But if you're an illegal alien who is illegal and so therefore you're breaking the law and you need to be arrested for that, you can go protest in front of the White House with no repercussions, and that happened this week on Monday.
When I heard that, I was just like, well, we're at that point in our country. I mean, think about it. Our president makes laws that are illegal because he's not supposed to make laws because he's not the Congress, and then just doesn't follow through with the own laws that he creates through executive order. I mean, he just does whatever he wants. He's a dictator. So why should we be surprised when the government's not doing anything about illegal immigrants protesting in front of the White House, saying we want our free stuff. It's racist if you are for closed borders, but veterans can't even protest. A Mexican consulate.
American
and
citizens
get
can't
real.
protest.
They can't protest the White House because they'll just get shut down. They'll say that there's a suspicious suitcase, and the Secret Service had to shut down the protest, even though we're supposed to be allowed to protest. Remember, we paid for all this stuff. We pay the government. Okay, we pay for them to operate. They work for us, and this is how we're treated. It's utterly ridiculous, and we've gotten to that point, people. If you can't see, even if you have no idea what's going on, but you're an American citizen and you understand, hey, yeah, I enjoy being American. I understand we have freedom here. You have to be able to look at this and say, you know what, something's wrong, okay? And then once you figure that out, that little light bulb goes off. Start talking about it, learn about it, and speak out against it, okay? Use your brain, people. We're gonna lose all our freedoms, the little freedoms that we still have, that we still enjoy, and so we need to take action. And maybe we should start. Maybe we need to get together and march to the White House. I mean, it's at some point. It really is going to take millions of people walking to the White House and say we're done. But even then, Obama's a puppet. He's ran by the globalists. They want civil war. They want to collapse this country and make it the North American Union. And they want to sit above and just play people off against each other. That's why I'm so angry when I see Zbigniew Brzezinski, co-founder of the Trilateral Commission, on CNN, basically, discussing the future of all these countries as if he has as if he is the say. Okay, and whether these people go to war or this country goes to war with this country or these people die, it's insane.
He's playing
it's
God.
arrogant.
That's what it is. He's playing God, man.
These-
That's not
these-
cool.
Well,
man.
he is setting policy.
He is. These elite groups like Bilderberg Group, Skull and Bones, they are setting policy in these secretive meetings. That's why they don't want people to be there at these secretive meetings, because they're setting policy, okay? And so we need to understand that that's the root of the problem. And we it just pisses me off that more people are not calling these elites out for what they're doing to everyone, not just America, everyone. They're globalists for a reason.
Like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Stuart,
Rest in peace, George.
Stuart, these are not only illegal aliens coming across our southern border from Central America. There have been illegal aliens found to be coming from Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. And this whole thing about them being called refugees is a fraud, because a Republican representative, congressman, who is actually a Vietnam and Iraqi war veteran, a man who would know what war looks like and a country in war, went down to South America, and he toured these countries, and he says that they are not refugees because there's no war going on. And so he went to El Salvador to see, is there really a war? Do we really need to classify these illegal alien children as refugees? And no, we don't. He went to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, and came back and said, no, there's no war, and they're not refugees.
They're playing on the emotions of the American people. Look, the reason these countries are these countries is because they're completely corrupt. They're not even at war with anyone. The cartels run Mexico. They run their government. The only thing that can solve this problem is collapsing America is not going to solve anything. We need these countries to have revolutions in their own countries, okay? The Mexican people will continue to be slaves, and they are. It's terrible. I went to Ensenada, Mexico, and I could hardly even stand to look at the children asking, for me to buy some candy. I mean, with no shoes on. It's terrible. But the fact is that until they have their own revolution and their own 1776, those countries are going to continue to be that way, and that means that shipping people into our country is not going to solve anything, especially if we're not even abiding by our unalienable rights and the Constitution. So these countries need to have their own revolutions if anything's going to change around the globe. I mean, we need people to stand up for their unalienable rights all around the globe, the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense. If you go to Mexico and you get pulled over by a police officer, hey, if they want to throw you in jail, they're going to throw you in jail. I mean, hey, it almost sounds like America, but I mean, it's been that way in Mexico. It's just matter of fact. You bribe police. They ask you, hey, offer me money. Okay, that's how corrupt these places are. So they're fleeing tyranny. They're not fleeing war. They're fleeing tyranny, and I feel for them. But as I've said before, they're fleeing one tyranny to come to a newer, more Orwellian Big Brother tyranny here in America.
Should a hurricane or other life-threatening catastrophic weather event impact South Texas, illegal aliens occupying various shelters will be first in line to get to safer ground, a National Weather Service coordinator says. So they're getting ahead of American citizens, our own resources, which is absurd, but they are treated better than American citizens, these illegal alien quote, refugees who are not refugees because there is no war going on in their country, except for, like Stuart said, the tyranny from their own government.
They're political pawns. I mean, they are using these. Of course, they're treating them better than us because we're the enemy. We're scum.
I mean, idiot Americans.
We're all the enemy. But they're using these select groups as political pawns. And yeah, they're treating them better for now because they're going to do what they want. And then when everything collapses, they're not, you think welfare is going to continue for these illegal immigrants and healthcare? You think all this stuff is going to continue for them, but not for us? No, it's not going to continue for anyone. Okay, so that's why we stress it so much, is that we need to have restore the Bill of Rights and Constitution this country used to have and used to abide by, and then hopefully set the example for everyone else. And that's why we also need to get out all these illegal foreign wars of aggression as well.
Stuart, we're going down in a ball of flames. There's a workshop set about the lead bullet ban by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. That's on August 12th from 7 to 8:30 in downtown Fresno. The Department of General Services building at 2550 Mariposa Mall in Fresno. I advise everybody to go out there, see what they're talking about, implementing how they're going to go about implementing the lead ammunition ban signed into law by Jerry Brown, going to take effect July 1st, 2015.
Anything that Jerry Brown signs, I know it's a bad thing. Look, we need to elect people that are going to vote no on everything. A no vote is a yes to the Constitution, in my mind, especially now. We are at a critical point in time in our country's history where we're either going to decide to go into complete slavery and a welfare state and a hellish future for everyone, or we're going to restore the Bill of Rights and Constitution. So our representatives, governors, everyone, they just need to vote no on everything. Lead bullets ban, right? Was that what it is? Mm-hmm. I mean, how much more gun control do we need to go over until we realize that that doesn't stop anyone from killing anyone? Okay, and it also limits our freedoms, law-abiding citizens' freedoms and rights. So, it's unfortunate this went through, and that's why I'm considering leaving California very soon here in the near future, because it's getting ridiculous. I mean, I have the right to bear arms. I mean, more people should just start open carrying. I mean, really though. I mean, we have the right to bear arms.
Let's go to Alabama, man.
Yeah, just do it over there. just don't brandish your firearm, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to wear it. No one should feel unsafe. And we got cops. You should be scared of cops.
Right.
I'd rather have people on the streets that I knew were good people open carrying. Okay,
Yeah.
Here in California, we have the right to bear arms. Okay,
That's right, yep.
But everyone thinks that it's just illegal because they think that seeing citizens, normal citizens, without some special permit, and concealed weapons permit, that they can't bear arms. No, the Constitution says the right to bear arms. Okay.
They rewrote it in some
bear arms.
Common Core that you might have to go ahead and talk to the government about what regulations are in place, something to
Is
that
that what it
effect.
says?
Something like that. They just totally rewrote it. I don't know how they can get away with it, but like we said, they pay off the corrupt teachers, superintendents, custodians that go along with the whole fraud of Common Core, which is Agenda 21. But moving on here, Stuart, to genetically modified babies. They are genetically modifying babies. They're taking 3 people's DNA.
You mean cloning? Oh, man. I knew
Genetically
that was going to happen,
modified
man.
babies.
I knew that was going to happen.
And so that's happening now. We are in 2014.
Can you imagine another Stuart Webb?
An Orwellian nightmare.
That would be a nightmare.
So babies don't have just 2 DNAs, one from the mother and one from the father. Now they have 3 DNAs in these genetically modified babies.
That is scary. Remember the
Wow.
movie Gattaca? They're just genetically
I remember
modified.
that, yeah.
Remember? Mm-hmm. And guess what? That was 97. Hey, it's
Wow.
2014, and it's actually going on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Same with Minority Report. All these movies are setting the tone for the future. They've already. I mean, these movie plots are what's been in the works for
Predictive
decades.
programming.
Yep. Exactly.
Exactly. So they're getting ready for to start to implementing these type of actions that we see in movies, and we think it's all fiction, but we need to live in reality, people. Okay.
Yep.
So
Wake up.
wake up.
Open your eyes.
Are we seeing signs of the apocalypse, Stuart? This week, there was 9 people struck by lightning in Southern California. There was also a river in China that turned blood red. There was also, last week, a swarm of med flies.
Yeah, I seen that in the news. I was like, what is that?
And so all these things are
It
happening.
showed up on radar. That looked crazy.
All these things are happening right now. Are these signs of the apocalypse? The way that we're living, they may very well be.
Yep, and we need to decide what side of history we're going to be on when all this goes down, people. Okay, it may happen tomorrow. It may happen 50 years from now. It may happen 100 years from now. We don't know. We may not be alive, but we know where it's going, and we need to speak out against it. We need more freedom, not less freedom.
That's right.
And we're seeing signs of things that have been prophesied. I mean, let's just be real, okay? Like Sam said, I mean, we're seeing things that, I mean, look, massive amounts of flies just hatching,
Causing
and just,
accidents. There were so many
Yeah,
of them.
causing-
that's crazy, man.
that's some crazy stuff. But
Rivers are turning blood red.
that is unbelievable. And so we're going to start seeing things that we've never seen before. But it's okay, because as long as we stick to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we'll be okay. Folks, we're just about out of time. Sam, do you have any last words?
Oregon is working on a solution. They have a GMO labeling initiative that's coming on the ballot in November. Vote yes on 92 in Oregon.
This show is sponsored by We Are Change Fresno.